In this lesson, we talk about equivalent equations. Equivalent equations are two equations that will give you the same solutions. Okay, two equations which will give you the same solution is called equivalent equations. But how do we get equivalent equations? You can get equivalent equations by doing any of these operations that I've specified here. If we add a number to both sides, or we subtract a number from both sides, or multiply both sides by a number, or divide both sides by a number, or switch the sides of an equation, or you do a combination of any combination of these operations. Let's look at some examples. Example 1. Find an equation equivalent to 2x plus 1 equal to 6 by adding 5 to both sides. Alright, what we are going to do, we are going to add 5 to both sides. I write the original equation. This is one side of the equation, which we call it the left-hand side of the equation, which is located to the left of the equality sign. And this is called the right-hand side of the equation. Now we've been asked to add 5 to both sides. So I'm adding 5 to this side and I'm adding 5 to this side. And because I'm doing it to both sides, then I'm going to have an equivalent equation to that. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to add 1 and 5. So we're going to have 2x plus 6, because 1 and 5 is 6, equals to 6 plus 5 is 11. That is the equivalent equation and equivalent equation to the original equation, which is this one. Another example. Here what we did, we added the same number to both sides. You can also subtract the same number from both sides. Example 2. Make an equivalent fraction, equivalent equation by subtracting 2 from both sides of 5x plus 8 equal to 9. Alright, so what we do, we take away 2 from both sides. This is my original equation, which is that. Take away 2 from both sides. So 5x stays. 8 minus 2, we got 6 left, so plus 6 equals 9 minus 2 is 7. That is another equivalent equation to this. So 9 take away 2 is 7, and 8 take away 2 is 6. So as we can see, we've done the same operation to both sides. We subtracted 2 from both sides. We can also times both sides by a given number. So example 3, find an equivalent equation to 2x equal to 6 by dividing both sides by 2. So again, we write the original equation and divide both of them by 2, both sides by 2. If you divide 2x by 2, 2 will go away and you get x equals 6 divided by 2 is 3. And this happens to be actually the solution to this equation because we ended up with x. It could have been in another form. I can give you another example where you don't get to the answer yet. Example 4, find an equation equivalent to 4x plus 6 equal to 10 by dividing both sides by 2. By 2. All right, here, again, write your original equation. We are dividing both sides by 2. 4x divided by 2, you got divides 4 by 2, you get 2, so 2x. Then plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. As you can see, I'm dividing every single of them by 2. Equal to 10 divided by 2 is 5. That is now an equivalent equation to this original equation. Yeah, basically these are some of the operations. We can also times both sides by the same number. We did adding, we did subtracting, we did dividing. Now I do an example for timesing. Example 5. Make an equivalent equation to 3x plus 5 equal to 6 by multiplying both sides by 4. So I write the original equation and I'm timesing both sides by 4. So everything is going to be times by 4. 3x times 4, all you need to do is just times 3 by 4 and keep x. So that becomes 12x. Then put the plus, which is between them. Then you times 5 by 4 to get 20 equals 6 times 4 is 24. This is an equivalent equation to the original equation, which is this one. Yeah, that is how we get equivalent equations. But the aim of this is to use equivalent equations to solve an equation and end up with x equal to a certain value, which is the solution. So we are not going to get equivalent equations randomly. In next lessons, we will see what operation we need to do to get equivalent equations in a way that helps us to solve the equation and get into a solution. That will be the subject of next lessons. And as I said, another way of also getting equivalent equations is to switch both sides. If they told me get an equation equivalent to that by switching both sides, all is going to happen. On the left hand side, I'm going to write 6, so it's going to be 6 equals to the whole thing on the left goes to the right, equals to 3x plus 5. That is all about equivalent equations, and as I said, you can make a combination of all these operations and get an equivalent equation. We will talk more about this in next lessons. Thank you for your attention.